Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this important conversation. The topic that we're going to be talking about today are titled Our Planet in Peril, Mastering Language for Meaningful Connection. I'm Iman.
And I'm Rafiq. I'm Ikhwanul.
And today, we're going to be exploring not only the state of our current environment, but also how our ability to communicate effectively across cultures and languages are going to be shaping our collective response.
Yeah, that's right. So, environmental problems are abstract anymore. They are part of our everyday reality. From the way we feel that the rising cost of food and the unpredictable weather that affects farmers and families everywhere.
And behind every issue is communication, how we share information, how we perceive others, and how we build mutual understanding between communities with different language, beliefs, and values.
Exactly. Our big idea for the discussion is mastering language for meaningful connection, clarity, and impact in communication. We're also going to be reflecting on two essential questions. That being said, how do we communicate appropriately in a multicultural society, and how can language skills be enhanced for effective communication? Before we dive in, I want to highlight why these questions matter. Environmental issues are global, not just local, but the solutions can be local. If we cannot communicate across cultures, our efforts risk being fragmented. Understanding how to talk about complex topics clearly and respectfully is the bridge between awareness and action. Let's start with the fundamentals. Rafiq, could you outline the key environmental challenges that we are currently facing?
Yeah, of course, man. So, the main challenges is including climate changes, deforestation, pollution, loss of biodiversity, and also waste mismanagement. So, global temperatures are rising. The ice and the Antarctic are melting, and also the sea level are threatening coastal population. Meanwhile, our forests, the lungs planet, as you know, are shrinking, become smaller and smaller, and the wild habitats are disappearing, becoming the exotic animals become extinct. So, how about you guys?
Those are significant, interconnected problems. When one system weakens, others begin to follow. For example, deforestation not only reduces the oxygen production, it also increases carbon in the atmosphere, which in return may accelerate climate change.
And in communication terms, interconnectedness is something we need to emphasize when we speak about the environment. People often see issues in isolation, but explaining how one problem influences another helps audience grasp the bigger picture.
That's a very good point, Iman. It's almost like we need to translate the science into everyday language, connecting the cause and effects in ways that people can relate to. In multicultural contexts, this becomes even more important because environmental messages must resonate with different social realities.
Yes, Iman, exactly. In some countries, drought means water scarcity. In others, it means food insecurities. Meanwhile, in like small island nations, it means the loss of entire homes. So, in one size fits all messages that doesn't work.
And that's where cultural awareness comes in. The same phrase like climate crisis might sound urgent in one language but may not exist in another. Translating environmental urgency requires emotion as well as a linguistic precision.
So, effective communication begins with listening. Well, understanding what matters to the audience and then shaping our messages accordingly. It will remind us that communication is not just the delivery of information but the construction of the shared meaning. Now, let's move forward. Let's discuss what drives these environmental issues. Understanding on Rafiq.
Yes.
Rafiq, what are the main causes behind our crisis that we talk about?
Yeah, so the main causes of the issues is our reliance on fossil fuels, the coal, the oil and the gas. This provide energy, but it's also release enormous amounts of carbon dioxide. Second is deforestation, which remove the planet's natural ability to absorb the carbon that has been made by many sources. So when the third one is overconsumption, producing and discarding at unsustainable rates.
That patterns that you just talked about reflects a cycle of demand and waste. What's interesting is how communication can both create and break that cycle. Advertising, for example, often glorifies access, but effective awareness campaigns can shift public behavior in the opposite directions. It can be either towards minimalism and sustainability.
This through the language of consumerism, words like new, exclusive, unnecessary encourage constant consumption. In contrast, sustainability uses language like use, new, and restore. Words shape mindset.
Exactly, that's very good point. It's an excellent reminder that every single term carries social meaning. The words we choose in public campaigns, classroom, or media can promote values that either protect or harm our environment.
Yeah, and that's why the education is crucial. When people understand science, they are less likely to dismiss it. And when they see how small actions like conserving energy or even reducing plastic, it connects to the bigger system. They are more motivated to act.
Exactly. And this is where intercultural communication skills enhance the impact of education. If we can explain environmental science using local metaphors or cultural references, people can or may relate to it. For example, the saying goes, trees are our guardians, may be more powerful in one culture, rather than saying trees can absorb carbon dioxide. The way we word it out will affect different people differently.
So yeah, exactly like what you said. Culturally relevant storytelling can change attitude faster than statistics alone. It's not about simplifying facts, but about contextualizing them.
So in summary, human responsibility extends beyond physical action to linguistic responsibility. The responsibility to communicate in ways that may include to educate and inspire others. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's zoom out a bit. How are different parts of the world respond to the environmental crisis?
So, as what we know, some countries are leading through renewable energy initiative. For example, a large scale of solar panels and also wind projects. Others are improving waste management and reforestation. However, not all nations have the equal resources. So there's a gap between developed and developing regions.
As you can see, communication plays a major role in bridging that gap. Global agreement often use technical language that's difficult for local communities to interpret. If you want genuine participation, message must be accessible and transparent.
That is a very critical insight, Robert. Environmental governance depends on collaboration, and collaboration depends on comprehension. If stakeholders misunderstand policies due to language or cultural differences, implementation may fail.
So, exactly, and when international conference can make commitments, but to local communities, they have to carry out the real work. If they don't really understand the why behind the policy, the progress may stall.
Which means we need translating mediators and educators who can reach global goals and local realities.
So, we're really talking about a communication ecosystem one where scientists, policymakers, teachers, and citizens all play connected roles. In that ecosystem, clarity and empathy are the nutrients that sustain cooperation.
So, well said by you. When those nutrients are missing, so the misinformation will also spread. And the misinformation comes from apathy or even denial.
That's a very serious question you just brought up there. Misinformation thrives when messages are unclear. One solution is critical thinking, teaching people to analyze sources, question biases, and verify facts. That's as much a communication skills as it is a civic duty.
And second, and it's also part of mastery. Language is not about understanding not just how to speak, but how to listen, interpret, and evaluate information critically.
So in essence, global progress depends on linguistic literacy as much as scientific literacy. The clearer our collective communication, the faster our progress towards sustainability. And let's explore how we can use communication to inspire real change. Ikhwanul, from your perspective, what strategies are the most effective?
So, from my perspective, there's three come to my mind: storytelling, inclusivity, and consistency. Stories make data human. Inclusivity ensures everyone sees themselves in the message. Consistency builds trust over time.
So, as what you said is not, that's really aligned with that environmental educators group. When you tell story of a forest or even a river, like National Geographic, and people start to care, they start to believe in the problems, and when they care, they have the intention to protect it. Right?
That's a very good point, Rafiq. So, communication transforms information into emotions and emotions into motivation. That process explains why a movement like Fridays for Future became global because they framed climate science through personal experience.
Yes, and the simplicity of their message. There is no planet or word across language. It's short, clear, and universally delivered.
That's linguistic precision in action. Minimal words, but maximum in impact.
But yes, do you notice how young people lead these movements? They use media social such as IG or Facebook, not just to share opinions, but they also educate peers, their friends, also family.
Indeed, social media not only amplifies voice, but it also demands responsibility. Messages spread faster than ever, so accuracy and respect are vital. Otherwise, good causes can lose credibility.
I agree. Digital communication needs both ethics and empathy. It's not only what we post, but how we engage with others that defines the quality of guidance.
And let's say, for example, in a multicultural digital space, tone becomes as important as content. Misunderstandings can occur easily when we consider context or culture. Mastering language means anticipating those differences and choosing words that unite rather than divide.
Yeah, it's also about humility, acknowledging that we may not always have the right to the words, but we can always listen and learn.
Once again, beautifully said. Listening is perhaps the most underrated communication skills. Yet, it is the foundation of respect and understanding. In addressing environmental issues, listening to communities, indigenous groups, farmers, youth, all this ensures solutions that are inclusive and lasting.
And that's how communication becomes collaboration. It's not top-down instruction, it's also shared guidance.
Exactly. And that approach mirrors what we're doing here exactly. Like today, we are exchanging ideas, analyzing causes, and we're also building shared meaning. As we near the end of our discussion, let's reflect on what we have learned. We began by acknowledging our planet is in peril. We also that are facing a convergence of crisis, But we also recognize that our ability to communicate clearly, empathetically, and across cultures. This is one of the greatest tools for exchange.
Yeah, that's right, man. So, the environment rules our behavior when we act carelessly. It deteriorates when we act responsibly. It heals.
And language is the bridge between those two states, between knowing and doing.
Exactly. To summarize, effective communication for environmental action requires three major things: comprehension, connection, and last but not least, commitment. Comprehension means understanding the facts. Connection, on the other hand, means relating them to the human values. And last, commitment means turning understanding into sustained behavior that may impact the world and the earth in the years to come.
Yes, man. That's such a wonderful and powerful framework.
And our such questions guide us here. Let's recap what our question is. First up, how do we communicate appropriately in a multicultural society? So, we do so by respecting diversity. We adapt language and we listen actively. Secondly, our second question goes, how can language skills be enhanced for effective communication? It can be enhanced through practice, through reflection, and through awareness of how words influence perception.
So ultimately, communication and conservation are inseparable. One protects the environment, the other one protects understanding. Am I correct?
That's true, indeed. As educators, students and citizens, we share responsibility for both. The clarity for our language can both determine the clarity of our future.
Yeah. So guys, let's choose words and actions and restore the balance.
Let's make communication not just a skill, but a form of stewardship.
Thank you everyone for being part of this conversation. Let us continue our voices in order to describe the world as it is, or to shape the world as it should be.
Yeah. So
Let's protect our planet and communicate for a better world.